Hello, everyone. Welcome back to all the parents and caregivers who have teens in their home. I am Natalie Claude. I am a licensed clinical social worker with over 10 years of experience working with children and family in the mental health field. I've worked with a variety of populations, and the majority of my time has been spent working with teens and parents with the primary focus of trauma. Other than my professional background, my personal titles would be sister, daughter, aunt, niece, cousin, friend, follower of Jesus Christ, and citizen of heaven. So, here at Raising Teens with Natalie, I am clinically sound and biblically based. So, you get both over here. And our goal here is just to strengthen you, parent, caregiver, through your tenacious teen, because we know that parenting is hard work. You probably got more than what you bargained for. This is definitely not what you were expecting. Some days you might be bracing for impact, and other days you might be preparing for war, because parenting the tenacious teens of today is definitely not easy. So we are in a new month, so happy July. It's only the 6th. To me, it feels like these months are going by pretty quickly. We're already halfway through the year, and then we'll see what the rest of the year has for us. So new month. So over the last 2 weeks, we have talked about I had introduced this topic about in terms of from parent to supervisor, in terms of the transition for you as a parent and what that looks like as you have the teens in your home today. We also talked about last week about the one of the most important ingredients that you need in order to be able to parent well is the grace of God and community, right? Parenting was not meant to be done on your own. So, for those of you who had the time last week to look at your community, for those of you who are joining us for the first time, I would say look at people who can help support you as you raise your teen, because you can't teach your teen everything. I'm going to try to shift my camera because I know the glare from the sunlight behind me is hopefully not impacting your guys' vision too bad. But in terms of community, right, we're not meant to parent on our own. You're not meant to parent on your own, and it takes people to do this with you in order for you to do well, because you can't give your teen everything. There's a reason why parenting is done best in community, is because you get a different kind of people who can teach your teen, teach your children something, and because you don't have all the skill sets. Sometimes it might be a family friend, sometimes it might be the parent of another teen that you know, sometimes it might be the school that's teaching some of your teens or your children in your home something, because you can't teach them all. You can't teach the majority of things, but you can't teach them everything. So that's why it's important that parenting happens in community. So as we think about that, as we think about even the topic of transitioning from parent to supervisor, because we're back here again about the transition, and let's assess. Let's assess for a moment. So, as a therapist, me, we talk about like developmental stages. So, for every age group, there is certain types of norms that go with that age group. There are certain types of things that happen on the inside and the outside in terms of their behavior and what's considered normal for them, and like what's happening on the inside of their body and how that shows up on the outside. And for your teen, there's a lot happening right now. There's definitely a lot happening right now. They have their body, their hormones. They're going through what's called puberty, right? Where their hormones are shifting and switching. Their bodies are changing at a rapid rate. Their brains are trying to reorganize and trying to re understand where they are. They're trying to understand their environment, who they are, and who they want to be. And that's a lot for your teen to go through. In addition to trying to decide how they fit in this world, while they also are trying to redetermine who they are, while they're trying to relearn themselves, because there's a lot of changes that they probably don't even want to see happen, but they're happening anyway. To be quite honest, there's some times that I've worked with some teens who, like, puberty was not something that they wanted to go through. And unfortunately, we can't, well, I was going to say we can't fight biology, but we can to some extent. But some things in our body just happen the way that they're going to. And for the teens of today, they have a lot that's going for them, in addition to trying to be in high school in the 4 years that they have, or for some of them who might be in high school a little longer just because of some challenges that are going through, and then also because of who their friend groups are and who they're deciding who they want to be. Like, there's a lot of changes that happen during their teen years. And because of their brains and how much is going on, things get really especially difficult. So I'm sure you guys have heard of multitasking. And I don't know about you guys, but when I multitask, you don't really multitask. You think you're multitasking, and what's really happening is that one of the two items that you're working on, one of them is getting the primary focus while the other one is left on the back burner. You're giving it some attention, but one of the items is definitely getting most of the attention versus both the two of the things that you're working on. Just like your teen's brain. Their brain and their body is so focused on the hormonal changes and the body changing, and this gotta grow, and this gotta change, and this gotta switch, and this hormone has to go here. And because they're doing all that all at one time, while they're walking through the walls, while they're trying to understand their environment, while they're looking at you at the face, so obviously one thing is taking precedence over the other. So their body is so focused on what's happening internally that they can't really pay attention to their outside world, which is why they become very clumsy. They're very forgetful. They can't remember where they put their things. You told them to do the same thing multiple times. They said they heard you, but they're not moving the way you thought they would, right? And that's mostly because they can't multitask. As much as you may want them to, they can't multitask. And to be quite honest, neither probably can you. I know I can. I know, like for me, I say I'm trying to, and then what ends up happening is not what I think that's happening. So, thinking of that, thinking about how hard it gets and where our topic is today, that takes us to our focal scripture of the day. So, Proverbs 22, verse 6 says, "Train up your child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it." And then the message version of that same scripture says, "Point your kids in the right direction, and when they're old, they won't be lost." Right? So, that takes me to the topic of today, to train your child from parent to supervisor, in terms of how are you modeling the behavior that you want to see in your teen yourself. So how are you modeling that behavior? What does that look like for you? What are they learning based off of what you're showing them, based off of the way you carry yourself, based off of the way you take care of yourself, based off of the way that you are talking, the way you speak, right? What are they learning from just watching you, other than what you say? Right? Are they learning to get an attitude? Are they learning to not follow through on their word? Are they learning to give better advice than they take? Are they learning that, you know what, I can do all things? Are they learning that I can face it even when it gets difficult? Are they learning that I'm going to ask for help when I need it? Are they learning that I should isolate and stay in my room? Are they learning that, you know what, my responsibilities are not that important? What are they learning from you? Right here at Raising Teens with Natalie, we talk about is you first, you the parent first. You need to take care of yourself so that you are modeling appropriate behavior for your teen because they're watching you. Like I said before, they are doing as you're doing, not as you're saying. So if you're doing one thing and saying another, they're clocking it. And that's something you guys have heard me say before for those of you who have been with me before. And for those of you who are new, definitely to answer that question as part of your self care for today, go ahead and grab a pen and some paper and take some time to answer. How are you modeling the behavior that you want to see in your teen? Or what are you modeling for them at all? Like, what are you showing them? How are you showing up in day to day in the life of your teen? So I'm gonna give you guys a moment to answer that question. For some of those of you who are still grabbing your paper, take a moment. It might be even helpful to type it out on your phone if you don't have a paper and a pen readily available. I am someone who definitely likes to plan a lot on my phone just because it's easier and I can take it everywhere I go. So take a moment to ask yourself, how are you modeling the behavior you want to see from your team? Now, while you're answering that question, I'm going to talk to you about how that looks like as a supervisor, because I am a supervisor where I am at a behavioral health clinic. And what that looks like is making sure that I am doing what I also tell others to do. I have the same expectation for myself as I do for others. So if I come in on time, I'm expecting the staff members to come on time. I'm expecting them to start their day appropriately. I'm expecting them to read their emails and all these other things. But I also do the same thing so that I'm not saying one thing and doing another. Because one thing that people don't like is incongruency. So when things don't match up, when you're saying one thing and you're doing another, what happens is that you start to lose respect. The people in your life start to respect you a little less because they're saying, well, she doesn't listen to what she says. I don't know who she is giving me all this advice. And trust me, your tenacious teen got a mouth. Got a mouth on them in terms of the quick come ups that they come up with, the comeback lines that they come up with in order to get you. Because I was a tenacious teen, and I will tell you that my mouth was quick and ready, and I had an answer for everything. These days, Now I'm in a reformed version of myself. I'm still quick with the words, but with wisdom and moderation in terms of how I respond, because that is all I'm in control of. I can't pop off like I used to, and neither can you. So, as you're also answering that question, think about what it was like for you when you were a teen. Who was modeling behavior for you? Who were you learning the most from? Were they from the adults in your life? Were they from friends? Were they from family? Were they from other, like, people on TV? Like, who were you learning from? And as you think about who you're learning from, think about the same for your team with the added pressure of they also have social media. So they might be learning from their environment, from the people around them, from you, especially because they spend the most time in your home. But they're also learning from social media because social media is like a third parent in the lives of the teens today. They love their TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. I won't say Facebook because I'm a little dating myself, but Facebook is for, I'm gonna say the older crew, even though I am included in that number. I'm gonna say the older crew. Dang, I'm sorry about the the sunshine. I can't quite figure out how to place my computer so that that doesn't happen, but we're gonna keep it pushing. And what's most important is my words, than it is the video feed. But yeah, so I guess I think about, like, as you're writing and answering that question, thinking about that as well in terms of who modeled behavior for you and what did you learn. And even in some of the stuff that we're modeling for our teen, some of it we can't take all of it, right? You're, like we said earlier, or like I said earlier, was that our teens are they're going through their developmental stage right now. There's a lot that's going in their mind. So they're not going to grasp everything that you're trying to teach them, which is why it's important that you're not the only one trying to teach them. You're not the only one trying to teach them. So it's very important that they have other people that they can learn from, other trusted adults where they can grab some information from. So you can try to teach them as much as you can, but also knowing that there's other adults that they can learn from, other people that they can learn from. And you want to make sure that they're in appropriate environments where they can learn good things and not bad ones. So, what habits do you hold for yourself that they're seeing and watching you do? We want you, at least I want you, especially when you're going to be partnering with me in terms of this journey of parenting your teens of today, is that you are a better version of yourself for you primarily, but that also affects your teen, right? Here we talk about at Raising Teens with Natalie is you, the parent first, you first. You have to take care of you. You have to do things that is well for you. You have to use your coping skills for you. You have to make sure you have a routine for you. And your teen gets a benefit from the way you choose to take care of yourself. We talked about boundaries in the last month or so. We talked about prioritization in the last month or so. And like I said, my mantra, my motto, the motto here always is you the parent first. So, hopefully you had some time to answer that question. And I know, like, I'm sharing scripture for those of you who are followers of Jesus Christ, and those of you who aren't. Like I said, I am clinically sound and biblically based, so you get both here. And hopefully, NKJV is just New King James Version of the Bible, but it has some wonderful principles. I would say the book of Proverbs itself has a lot of wisdom tools, whether you are a believer in Jesus Christ or not. A lot of um, a lot of useful wisdom tools in that book of the Bible for sure. And wisdom goes a long way. You don't have to be a believer of Jesus Christ to follow wisdom principles. There's a lot of people who written books based off of Proverbs because of the wisdom that it provides for those who follow it. Like if I'm going to think about it, right, in terms of the Bible, there's some promises that God gives us that is off rip. Whether As long as you follow it, you get the promise. So with wisdom, as long as you follow it, you get the promise, whether you are a believer or not. Because so then I think about that as well. But yeah, the scripture of today is Proverbs 22, verse 6. Train your child in the way they should go. And when they are old, they will not depart from it. And the message version again says, point your kids in the right direction. And when they are old, they won't get lost. So help your teen find their way by modeling appropriate behavior at home with you first. And a reminder always, when you're here with me, at least for Raising Teens with Natalie, is that you are yourself before you are a parent. So this week, take some time to do something for yourself. Whether that means taking extra time in the morning, whether that means, you know what, I'm going to journal for the day. I'm hoping that today this counts as your self care in terms of actually answering that question and not just sitting in front of me, watching me on your YouTube screen from your phone or your computer or your TV and not answering the question, right? Here, we got some work to do. Parenting doesn't just become good parenting just from listening. You have to do, you have to apply. Part of the application process means answering the questions that are asked during these lives and taking the time to maybe shift things or do things for yourself as you go on through the week. So, the homework, yes, I'm saying homework, I know. You haven't been to school for a while, and neither have I, and I don't like homework, but either way, an assignment for this week that will be the most helpful to you is answer that question. How are you modeling appropriate behavior for your teen? What is it that you're showing them? What is it that they're doing? And maybe you want to make a list of pros and cons, like what are you training them that is good? And what are some of your habits that are bad that they're also picking up on? Because most of the time, I'm going to say it, most of the time, your teen is getting their attitude from you. Most of the time they're learning some of the quick comebacks and some of those things and how to say things from you. Most of the time they're learning their anger and how to present as angry from you and the family that they are blessed by. So, and I'm sure when you were a teen, you probably had an attitude too, because I know I did. So let's not act like it's new here. It's okay that they are presenting in a certain way, and part of the you first as a parent means that you have to manage the way you respond to them. They're going to change. They are going to act up. They're going to say things and be mean and maybe yell and get really angry because they are not in full control of their bodies with the way that their brains are moving. And you, as a parent, if you are the one who goes first, you have to decide how you respond to them. There are some shows that I'm thinking about in terms of a proper response, despite what the team reaction was. And there was Reasonable Doubt, the second season. Sweet Magnolias, I've been watching recently, that had some good teen parenting responses, as well as what's that Netflix movie that just came out recently with the teen thing, with the teen love movie. Oh, that's gonna bug me. But either way, I'm gonna try to find those clips and clip it for you guys and share with you guys later this week. And if someone remembers the name of that Netflix drama series of what I'm talking about that recently came out, the Teen Love series, it was a limited series with two African American teens. Wow, I really can't remember the name. I really can't remember the name. But if somebody remembers the name, please please share it. Please share because I can't think of it. But I will try to clip that for you guys and share that later with you this week. That's if the system allows me to, because I don't really know the rules when it comes to clipping videos because I'm a little new here. But if I can clip it and share with you guys, I will. I will. So I'm going to go take a moment to check through the comments before we end our live today. Hi, Shaniqua. Thank you for joining. Yes, don't be a hearer, be a doer, for sure. And I think if anyone doesn't have any questions, I'm going to leave it. I'm going to wait for a moment. I probably should ask if you guys have questions. I didn't get there yet. I'm going to leave some time for some questions and answers. So if you have any questions, now's the time to ask, and I can hopefully answer for you. I'm going to give it a moment to see if there's any questions. And if not, we're going to end the live for today, and then I'll see you guys again next Sunday. Okay, well, no questions. Awesome. Well, maybe not awesome, but if you have a question, definitely feel free to email me. So we go live every Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time because I am in the state of Connecticut on the East Coast. You can follow me at Raising Teens with Natalie on all platforms. I'm on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube.